Hare Krishna. A warm welcome to all our viewers on behalf of the GBC Strategic Planning Team and myself, Sri Radha Govinda Dasi from the ISKCON Communications Ministry and a member of the GBC SPT team. And today I would like to welcome you to one of our last sessions for the year 2020. That is a year which was quite difficult because of the ongoing pandemic. I think a lot of devotees faced a lot of challenges in different areas of their life, health, health, relationships, career, and a lot of different aspects. And many of us have actually been waiting that, when will this year end? And at from our end, at the GBC Strategic Planning Team, we actually started to help the devotees by offering content which would keep them spiritually inspired and also informed in terms of COVID. We also had something that we did during the Incorporation Day where we actually spoke about the 7 purposes of ISKCON. We celebrated quite a few festivals together like Janmashtami, Radhashtami. One of our most popular series was actually Srila Prabhupada, the preeminent Shiksha Guru, which was followed up by our Kartik series where we actually did an online parikrama, and we also celebrated a lot of events online during the month of Kartik. That is, we spoke about Gopashtami, Govardhan Puja, and we rounded off the year with, or just a few weeks back, with some insights from devotees in relation to book distribution. And as we come to the last week of New Year, a lot of us are actually looking back, thinking on the year that was, difficult as it was. And we are looking at the year which is going to come ahead of us, where we are thinking of how we're going to evolve, how we're going to grow. And New Year's, and that's what we are going to talk about here today, the New Year resolutions, which we are so excited about, but little skeptical, not sure how it's going to work out. But yes, we do take out our notebooks and we are like, okay, this is what I think I want to do for the coming year. So that's what we are going to talk about today, the New Year resolutions, but not the lousy ones. And to talk to us about that, we have with us Sri Radha Govinda Dasi. Hare Krishna, a warm welcome to you, Sri Radha Govind. We're very happy to have you with us. And Sri Radha Govinda Dasi resides in Mayapur. She's a disciple of His Holiness Tripadaka Swami. And she was born in a Madhav Brahmin family where she actually had a very pious Vaishnav upbringing. And she continued that by continuing her studies in spiritual life, by, taking courses, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, and she also has traveled extensively to more than 25 countries where she has been teaching seminars and courses on self-help, astrology, and Vedic theology. She's also the director of Bhakti Marriages, which is a premarital division of the Congregation Ministry, and is author of several books. So we're very happy to have you with us, Sri Radha Govind, on this very interesting, very obvious topic at the end of the year, what everyone's thinking and talking about, New Year resolutions. But we're not going to have them lousy anymore after this interview, hopefully with you. So to begin with, one of the first things which, I was thinking about is that, we talk about resolutions, but would you little bit define what does it mean by having a New Year resolution?
Okay. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you, Parijata. Thank you to the GBC SPT team for organizing this event. And welcome everybody who's looking forward for a fantastic 2021. And I hope you've had, you learned your lessons in 2020 in a joyful way. So, okay, what are New Year resolutions? That's a good question. The end of the year is an organic way that something is coming to a closure. Everything has its end point. Something that is born has to die, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So a year that begins has to end. And so New Year resolutions is something we start thinking about it in the end of the year, because we start looking back at a particular year, let's say 2020, and say, this is what my year was. I don't want my next year to be like this, or maybe I want it to be better, or maybe I want it to be the same. So we plan. So New Year resolution is something where we can say in one word, it's a hope, an opportunity to make the best use of the time, which is Krishna. Krishna is. So we prepare for a new beginning, birth of something. So this is a birth, it's a natural birth, it's an organic birth of a new phase of our life. And when December ends and January begins, there is new energy. So we start thinking of, what is my New Year plans? What is my New Year resolutions? So it's healthy to think about New Year resolutions, as long as it's not lousy. We're going to talk a little bit more about it. Yeah, that's what my answer is, Parijata. So it's a closure to something and a beginning, a birth to something hopeful, an opportunity to learn and grow and be better, to better ourselves. That's what is usually a New Year resolution. However, there are different levels people sometimes plan. We will discuss a little bit further about this aspect of what are the different kinds of plans people have and goals people have. But in general, it's the end of something and it's the beginning and an opportunity towards something.
So a lot of times we see that, initially, I think there's such a big excitement about, the New Year resolution at the end of the year, the last week, when, as you say, that you're looking forward to a great year, you want to fill it up with what you didn't do the last year is what you resolve. A lot of people have different resolutions in terms of diet, terms of relationships, career, and a lot of things. And we see that the first week of Jan, the third week of Jan, and it's a little going, dwindling. You're not able to keep it up with. So why do you think it happens so that we make these new Year resolutions which we can't really stick to?
Yeah, let me share a slide that's going to explain to you why we don't stick to New Year resolutions. Okay, just give me a second. So this is a picture here. This is what we plan usually. I want to learn harmonium. I want to learn mridanga. I want to learn all the verses of Bhagavad Gita. I want to finish reading Srimad Bhagavatam. I want to do Bhakti Shastri. I want to travel to Australia. I'm just giving an example. That's an expectation. But then the reality is usually each goal takes tremendous amount of planning, execution, hard work, persistence, and many other resources that is required, such as money, manpower, determination, emotional stability, and so on and so forth. So usually we fail in in achieving our goals because our goals are not realistic. We have too many goals. Number one obstacle, we have too many goals. Number two, our expectation of how the goal is or how it will be achieved is not realistic. Okay, and then number three, we set expectations based on an image we want to create or to impress people, and not really to grow and express our personality. So we can end the screen share here. So I'd like to say a little bit something about it. Thank you. So that's the three main reasons that we usually fail. They say failing to plan is planning to fail. And my dear friends, there's a big difference between planning and dreaming. Planning is something where we are very conscious, very aware, For example, we look back at 2020 and see how was my 2020? What were the goals that I was able to achieve? What were the goals I was not able to achieve? What were the habits that helped me? What were the habits that were an obstacle? This is an exercise I am doing and writing down to understand for myself what were my strengths and what were my weaknesses in 2020. Because the truth is, it's not going to be very different. If I've had, say, difficulty in chanting my rounds in the Brahma Muhurta time in 2020, it's likely I would have the same problem in the next year. And if I've had good exercise habit, then it's likely that it'll help me in 2021 too. So if I set goals which are nothing, like it has nothing to do with how my year has been, and I set an unrealistic expectation. Next year, I want, like overnight, December ends, January begins, I want to completely change my life. I will quit this bad habit and the other bad habit, and I'm going to start waking up at 3 o'clock, and I'm going to start chanting all my rounds, and I'll be done. And for the whole 2020, I'm going to do all these things which we couldn't do even 3 days of 2020. We want to do it in 2021. We add 100 more goals, and we set ourselves up for failure. So this is one of the major problems, being unrealistic and being dreamy and thinking, I'll achieve that, I'll achieve this. Even when I started writing out, I thought, I'll learn harmonium, I'll learn mridanga, I'll learn the guitar, I'll learn so many other instruments. That's again very unrealistic. We have to see how many hours in a day do we really have? How many hours am I really ready to give for it? And how important is this goal? So these are the 3 reasons, and the secret is set realistic expectations that's not going to make you feel more like a failure, but rather realistically going to help you to progress. Does that help, Parijata?
Especially this point where you mentioned that there is something that you haven't been doing even for a few days in 2020, and now with a notebook, you write it down on the page, and then you expect that the next year I'm going to do all this. It so much makes sense, and I think that's exactly what we do. I think, of course, as devotees, we have more spiritual goals, but we hear about people saying, oh, I'm going to go on this diet, and I'm just going to go completely off sugar, and I'm going to do this, that, and then we realize that, oh yeah, I mean, it's your mind's not ready for this, your body's not ready for this, and it's just something which is up on the paper. And as you said, the key word here is that it's unrealistic. So would you share with us any tools which can actually help us to, set these goals, realistic goals?
Mm-hmm. Sure. I mean, there's so many tools. Sometimes we have to be careful that there's so many tools and so many things that, again, we shouldn't put ourselves up with 100 apps to track our things, and too many things is also difficulty. So we have to edit ruthlessly the tools that we're going to use. One basic tool, let me share the screen with you. One thing is this very famous, very simple concept of how to set SMART goals. So being specific about our goal, let's say learning harmonium, being specific. I will learn harmonium enough to play in kirtans. Say at least I will learn 3 Hare Krishna tunes. That's like a specific goal. And then measurable is again like I will be able to dedicate 1 hour a day, whatever it is. Or we shouldn't say I will dedicate 8 hours in a day. That's not, again, realistic. Then achievable, it should be, again, not 8 hours, 10 hours or something, but really something we are able to dedicate. And then realistic is, again, not like something I will be able to play harmonium like a super professional within a year. Again, that may not be realistic. We may set ourselves up for failure. And timely, meaning by the end of 2021, I'll be able to play three tunes of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Namam Vishnu Padaya, Namaste Narshingaya, and basically having a time bound goal that makes us feel, oh yeah, time bound also can help us, because we can say in 3 months I'll be able to play the basic sarigama or whatever, and then in 6 months I'll be able to play two Hare Krishna tunes, and by the end of the year I'll be able to play four Hare Krishna tunes or whatever. This is just an example. Depending on your capacity and depending on your interest, we can set goals that are measurable, that are specific, achievable, realistic, and timely. So yeah, let me stop the share. Okay, so that is something that can help us. One particular tool that can help us to have proper goals, realistic goals. But see, behind the setting the goals itself, usually we have obstacles, because we usually set goals based on our idea of what is success, or I want to be able to do it because I want to look good or look great, but then we don't actually have the enthusiasm to continue and come to the point of conclusion. So it's important for us to have goals that nurture us, nourish us, make us feel happy about doing it. Like every day morning I'm like looking forward to do that particular goal that I have in mind. Let's say a writing or something. So tomorrow, what am I going to learn new so I can write? Oh, today I want to write in this way and that way. And so it should be absorbing for us and something that we look forward for, and not just some goal because we want to show off to somebody that we can do something. So it's a very important principle behind using tools. We cannot use tools just to achieve some goals which are not really close to our heart, or something that we really want, or really something we feel truly connected to. Yeah, that's my answer about the tools.
Anything that you would say? I mean, I think one gets very excited in the beginning, when you are, starting the process, and you showed us that table of SMART. 1 or 2 months down the line, what would you say would be practical ways where you can actually track your progress? Um,
Well, there are different methods. First thing is to have somebody like accountability, to have somebody that we can actually report to.
someone,
It depends very much on our goals. If it's like writing an article, for example, I have this goal of writing an article every week. So I have a group of people that are waiting for my article. So it is something that, accountability is already there. You see, there's not like one person I have to call up and say, it's like people are waiting, so I have to send it. So similarly, we can have people like, if you want to set goal, like say you want to do yoga, you get a group of people that you can do yoga with, or you have like a mentor or a sadhana, you submit your sadhana chart or something to your mentor. You can have people that can help you to check how you're doing on your goal, in 1 month, in 3 months, in 6 months, to keep checking. In fact, even before setting our goals, it's good to consult with those people who know us, so they can actually tell us, is this really a realistic goal? Will we really be able to achieve it? Because when we set goals that it's not achievable, it's going to make us look more like a failure than what actually we are. In other words, it may not actually be our fault that we're not able to achieve it. It's the problem is with the goal itself. Does it make sense? And then the another technique or tip is to have some support system or tools, like I'm using this book, which is like planner. It gives like the weekly planning, monthly planning, how to set goals based on monthly thing, and then write them down, plan them, and then in the end of the week see how I'm doing with it. And then this gives us a great sense of validation, and it affirms our goal, because we know what's the long term goal, and then we divide it into quarterly, weekly, monthly, and then we are able to check and see how we are doing with that. Like here, let me start with the year one. they actually recommend in this particular book that we should set 3 big goals for 2021. They ask us to write down 10 big goals, and then among that, we have to select 3 top ones. Because, see, time is limited, we can't have everything. So then we have to select 3 top ones and then say how much time we are able to actually dedicate to each of them and write down like a roadmap. What are, like, for example, here they ask, write down your specific and time bound goal here. Then this goal is very important for you to achieve because of what? Milestones. What are the key milestones in the goal and what steps would you take to get closer to them? Then what will help you to reach this goal faster? Accountability, partner, guidance, tools, etc. And then the impact. When you achieve this goal, your life will improve in the following way. What is the impact? What will be the result? Then if you achieve this goal by the target date, you will reward yourself with. So these things really help. It really helps me to kind of keep track and see how I'm doing. And then that's like the yearly goal. Then it has like a monthly focus of writing down what's one project that I want to focus this month. Oops, this one, yeah. What is the one project that I want to focus this month? And then the top 3 items to finish this month. Then what are the tasks and activities to complete in this month, and the habits to focus on, things not to do. This is an important one. Things not to do is also important. As important as what to be done is also what not to be done. I'll show you the. Then we have weekly. Then we get closer into a daily schedules, and then weekly we see how good are we tracking the how good are we doing with our habits. And what I really like in this particular book, it's called Tiny Change. I'm not promoting it, but there are many, but this is something I'm using. Here, these things, my achievements this week, my learnings this week I'm grateful for. These things really help us to take a deeper look at the quality of our life. If we don't really feel like, oh, I'd achieved something this week, oh, this is what I learned this week, this is what I'm grateful for this week. If we have nothing to write about it, then we have to take a deeper look at our life. If we feel like, oh, my life sucks, then I don't want to plan, I don't want to do these things, then there's something wrong intrinsically with our life goals itself. So it's a good time to take a look and see. The planning should be like, if you could have a perfect day, what would it be? What would it be like? Then we plan according to that. It's not that we are forcing ourselves to do things that we hate doing. That's not actually goal setting or planning. We actually we actually figure out what we really love doing and what kind of a day we would love to live, and then we plan our days accordingly. So it has to be a good balance between growth and feeling good about what we're doing or doing what we actually really like doing. So it's important to know that.
Thank you for sharing that. I think especially that book that you are using, Tiny Change, not that we are promoting it here at GBC SPT, but so I think that offers some, very specific guidelines that one can follow. In case our viewers don't have that book, you can still come back and play back this interview and, just write down those pointers which I think Sri Radha Govind suggested in terms of, different things like the impact of your goal, and coming back, having a monitor, and every week are you accomplishing what you have decided to do. So I think these are some things that even before we start, we need to draw up these guidelines so that you know what's the step 1, 2, 3. It's not about just sitting and making a resolution, but now how am I going to make it realistic, and then how am I going to track my resolution. And that's what we just heard, that she just spoke about these different pointers. And one thing which just caught my attention when you spoke about, just answering our earlier question, was about this thing in relation to setting realistic goals, that we should not do this to just show off. This is an internal thing. we need to do this to feel more fulfilled, and not to look good, and show off. That was the word which you used. So could you a little bit elaborate on this part about how it's not about external achievements, but it's about having goals which actually internally fulfill us, especially for us as devotees, because um, the pandemic was an opportunity where we could sit back and reflect. So there are many such opportunities that could come our way. So if you could just share something in relation to that how you can make this goal setting far more rich and fulfilling internally.
Yeah, explain something about it. Let me start with this one. Okay. So, see, we have what we call it as be, do, have. B is all about our values, beliefs, and attitudes. That's like the foundation of who we are being. And then, based on what we believe in, then we act accordingly. We do things based on the belief that we have. And then we have things based on what we do because of who we are. So, this is a very important concept to understand before goal setting in general, goal setting for life or goal setting for the year. And this is in the mode of Sattva Guna. Being is in the mode of Sattva Guna because it's about Jnana Shakti. So Jnana Shakti is all about knowing what are the core values I believe in, what are the core attitudes that I want to develop this lifetime, this year, as a person, as an individual. Because if this is set right, then the rest is going to hold up properly. But if we don't have this very strong, if our sense of being is not very strong, then what we do and have is not based on a very strong value system. And so if I have a goal that is based on I want to show off, I want to have a big car, I want to have a big house, I want to be able to sing awesome kirtan, whatever the results may be, or even have can even be I want to have a danda, I want to be a sannyasi, even that level of external having positions, having titles can actually be very superficial because this is in the mode of ignorance. Okay, according to Bhagavad Gita, this is actually in the mode of Dravya Shakti. Having things is Dravya Shakti. It's about looking for tangible results, tangible things like assets, titles, positions. And doing is in the mode of Kriya Shakti. And Kriya Shakti is action, manifesting things, the power to manifest things. So doing, action-based things. So that's in the mode of passion. So if we don't base our goals on Sattva Guna, it's very difficult to continue being consistent in our behaviors, and therefore it'll be difficult for us to have results. Whereas if we start with being, for example, if I want to make a video and I say I want to be resourceful, then I'm going to use whatever equipment, whatever tools, whatever phone, whatever PowerPoints I have to do things because of being resourceful. I'll do whatever I do. And then I'll have the results that I'm going to have. But if my being itself is not, I'm not being resourceful. I'm thinking, I want a perfect computer. I want a perfect phone. I want to be a perfect presenter. Then I will do, and then I will have, it's not going to actually work. Or because it's, why it's not going to work? Because it's like saying, first I will have. First, I want to have an iPhone. I want to have the best editing software. I want to be able to speak the best English. I want to be able to have all the knowledge of the world in hand to do it, to be able to perform. Then it's going opposite direction. Dravya Shakti is dependence on the objects. Dravya Shakti is first I will become a sannyasi and then I will become detached. That's like Dravya Shakti, or it's like Tamoguna mentality. Instead, we should say, I will be, like people think, right? I want to get married. This 2021, I want to get married. They will say that's like having a partner. But if we have to see, why do I want to have a partner? What do we want to be? I want to be in good association. That's about being. Or I want to be happy. I want to be peaceful. That's about values and beliefs. And if we have that proper, then if I'm can be connecting to the value of happiness, then I will do things that happy people do. That is, go out with people, talk with people, meet people, all that. Then I will have things that people who do right things and have proper values or whatever in relationships will have. Means maybe a good partner, good association. So we have to see where we are starting with has to be with our core values. Let's stop the screen share and get back to this book I was showing you. In this book I was showing you earlier, they have this particular section called My Core Values. And in that core values, it's they give you different values, and then you're supposed to choose among those. You're supposed to choose 5 values. I mean, top 5 values. You can choose as many as you want, and then finally decide on what are the 5 values. Like, this is something I've done. That's like for me 2021. There are many things I like or I would like to cultivate, but there are 5 major ones that I've highlighted, and then write down like smaller or like a brief thing about it. And this, it helps immensely because, like, for me, okay, one of the things I wrote is discipline. So being disciplined can be it's very important to have that deep core value system of discipline to be able to do things, because otherwise my what I'm going to be doing the same things, or keep this thing there, that thing there, is not actually discipline. Discipline of what? Oh, I have to discipline my mind to keep my mind under control so I can do my puja and chant my rounds in a more focused manner. And whatever the disciplinary action might be, the action is in the mode of passion, is the do, but the being disciplined is what helps. So focusing on that, praying about praying to Krishna, please help me be disciplined. Because if I'm being, meaning connecting with discipline, then I'll do things that disciplined people do. Then I'll have results that people who are disciplined will have. I don't know if I'm making sense, Parijata, but the aspect of being and then able to do and then able to have works powerfully. It's like starting with sattva, then rajas will follow, and then tamas of having things will come automatically. But we usually think, I want to have a car, I want to have marriage, I want to have kids, I want to have this, I want to have that. We start with have, and then we can never actually be happy because the needs will never end. The needs, if I have a particular phone, we'll think, what about next phone? If we have a marriage, what about the house? If we have a house, what about children? So it'll never stop. The having will never stop. So we have to begin with that being.
I think that was quite helpful. Also, that you explained it a little more elaborately, that point, and just on the broader perspective, that in general we as devotees are quite aware that the overall purpose of our life is to be Krishna conscious, and of course within that parameter you want to have a car and this and that, but overall I want to be Krishna conscious. Um, so how, with that big broad goal on a day-to-day basis, how would you say that we as devotees can understand or define that what is the purpose of our life? Where we can see it in a very practical way, and then how can you set your goal accordingly?
Okay. One of the major things I would say, okay, let me just show these 2 slides to you. One is, see, it's very important when we think about purpose in our life, it's very important to also be clear what we don't want to do. To have like a list of not to do list is very important if we want to be clear about the purpose of our life, because otherwise life can just kind of be like a wave that can just wash us away. So to have clearly what we don't want to do is actually even big companies, even big successful business leaders, they actually focus on this aspect, what not to do. Like I think one of the companies, like Apple, they have things that they don't produce. So it's one of their major, uh, how do you say, strong points that they don't do certain things, and that gives a lot of energy, preservation, or they save that energy by not doing certain things. So similarly in our lives, to be able to know our purpose, we need to know what is not our purpose. And another important thing is, uh, see this quote. I found this quote. I thought I'll just share this. It's interesting. Doing what you like is freedom. Liking what you do is happiness. I mean, it's not like a perfect. We can stop the share. Um, it's not like a perfect philosophical Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam philosophy. Is like simple, common sense aspect that what we like doing is something that helps. So if I do what I like, it'll help me to keep doing it. But if I'm putting my mind to do something that I hate doing or I don't like it, it's harder to convince my mind to achieve that goal. So this is something very simple that I've learned in my life. To be able to find out the purpose of your life is not so difficult if we can only figure out what we don't want to do. Second, that's the first formula. Second, not to do it for the sake of show off or trying to impress people, but instead, being connected with yourself and really knowing what is it that you like doing, what is freeing for you. And the third thing is prayer. Praying to Krishna, dear Krishna, please make me an instrument in your hands. Because Krishna knows what is best for us. Sometimes I may have I may think I have a perfect idea, perfect plan for my life, for my purpose, but we may be actually either underestimating ourselves and giving ourselves too little goals, too small of goals to achieve, not really challenging ourselves, not really getting out of our comfort zone. Comfort zone is somewhere we feel I can do this, I can manage this, it's enough. But we should go to stretch zone. Like Sattva means stretching a little bit. Tamaguna is like staying in comfort zone. And then Rajaguna is getting too stressed and then feeling, freaking out. Well dressed, stressed people are in the mode of passion. They dress very nicely, but they're always super stressed. And Sattva Guna means always growing, always trying to learn something. So the purpose of our life it's a balance. If we have a balanced life, um, meaning, what does it mean? Krishna says in the Gita, right? We have to have equal or a holistic life. We need to have proper time for enough sleep, enough proper eating, proper exercise, recreation. Everything has to be balanced. So when we have a balanced life, it's easier to get connected to the purpose of our life. If everything is so imbalanced and we go from passion to ignorance, ignorance to passion, once in a while in Sattvaguna, but then go back to ignorance and feel that's, depression, sadness. Oh, I set goals for 2020 and I couldn't achieve anything. What were your goals? Long list of things. Or what were your goals? Oh, it was very easy, I achieved it, or very quickly. Why? Because I don't think I can do something better. So there are two extremes of tamoguna. One extreme is to think I can't do it. Who am I? I'm just an insignificant. See, even the philosophical understandings can be used as walls to block us from achieving the purpose of our life. And other times we may use laziness. We may just say, oh, I want to set easy goals so I can easily achieve it. I don't want to challenge myself. So these are the two extremes, which is not Vaishnava mentality, because Vaishnava is always, we like to grow, we like to learn, and we like to give ourselves in service. So it's not an easy question to ask, how do I know the purpose of my life? But my 3 tips that help me personally is to first of all have a balanced life, good health, good sleep, good food, good association, good sadhana, prayers, meditation, all these things sets the ground to be empowered or to be given that vision of this is your purpose. Because we have guru, sadhu, and shastra. Guru might give us a particular instruction. We may have a natural inclination based on our nature to do something particular. But even that, to be in a sattva guna perspective, it requires balanced life. Otherwise, we get pushed around. Especially it's hard for people who are in like when we are in like professional world, corporate world. There's so much pressure. We have to act, we have to perform, we have to do things according to the demands of others. So it's not very easy, to figure out what is the purpose. But these three things can definitely help us. The third thing is prayer. As I said, prayer is every single day asking Krishna to use me as an instrument in his mission, to empower me to live the best life I can, to become the best version of myself that Krishna loves. So these are the prayers that can actually reveal. And like a foundational secret for me has been to not figure out everything, what's my purpose of life today, and then I have to get it done, but rather focus one day at a time. What is my purpose today? And tomorrow, planning for tomorrow, and wake up in the morning, pray to Krishna, please help me to have a purposeful day. Because if we don't know what we want to do in life, at least we focus on today. Then by focusing on today in a sattva guna manner, it will help us to plan for the next week, the next month. Things will be given to us. So sattva guna is very important to find a purpose of our life. It's not like rajasic thing. Please, somebody tell me what's the purpose of my life right now. Please, some astrologer, tell me what's the purpose of my life. It's not a product. It's a process. And that process is lived one day at a time. And sometimes 1 hour at a time. Sometimes one moment at a time. One thought at a time.
I think that was wonderful. You actually put, the whole. It was such a profound question, but I think you put it so simply, and you just broke it up with these 3 points in like bite-sized information, which is easy to digest. And I actually want to catch on that point what you said about prayer. And though you spoke a little bit about prayer and a little bit about what should we pray, I would really like you to elaborate, especially because you are actually, what would I say, like on the board of, so many prayers, prayers from different other Vaishnav Sampradayas, the Sri Sampradaya, Madhav Sampradaya, of course, our Sampradaya, the Gaudiya Vaishnav Sampradaya, and and we have the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which of course is our lifeline. But would you suggest, any prayers and anything specific which would help one to keep that focus, which would, keep, just keep things in perspective?
Yeah, speaking about prayers, I remember this poetry by Purandaradasa. He says, Isabeku, itu jaisabeku, Isabeku, itu jaisabeku, ಹೇಸಿಗೆ ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಶಾ ಕ್ಲೇಶ ಮಾಡದಂಗೆ ಇಸಬೇಕು ಇದ್ದು ಜಯಿಸಬೇಕು. It's a beautiful meditation. He says, in this material world is like an ocean, and so we have to swim across that ocean. We cannot just say, oh, I'm tired, I can't swim, we will drown and be finished. We cannot just say, oh, it's not, I don't like doing it. We have to swim across. We have to find ways to keep swimming in a consistent, constant manner to reach the shore. Isabeku means we have to swim. Iddu jaisabeku means we have to live, we have to survive, we have to thrive in life so that we can win. What is victory? Victory is to surrender to Krishna. Victory is to take shelter of Krishna. So what kind of prayers can actually help us? The prayers that come from our heart, the prayers that are authentic, honest form of expression to Krishna. It doesn't have to be only positive emotions and glorifications of Krishna, which is taken directly from the scriptures only. In the beginning stages, we can express our emotions of sadness, depression, guilt, shame, loneliness, the needs that we may have, the victim mentality that we may be experiencing, the abuse we may go through. Doesn't matter what it is, what emotion it is, whether it's sadness or whether it's gratitude, whether it's the need for companionship or whether it's gratitude for companionship that we have. It doesn't depend on what emotion it is, but to offer to Krishna whatever emotions we are experiencing, whatever thoughts we are experiencing, whatever desires we have, whatever needs we have, we offer that to Krishna. And whatever struggles we have, we ask Krishna to help us. So, one of the prayers or one of the styles of praying that helps me, I like writing. I do journaling, so I do a lot of writing. So, I do the journaling just starting with Dear Krishna. So, every thought, every desire, every need, every complaint I have, whatever it is, I try to connect to Krishna and say, this is what I'm actually experiencing, Krishna. You please help me. This is what I'm wondering. What should be my purpose for 2021? What should I actually achieve? I don't know. I heard this SPT people publishing this boring interview on no more lousy New Year resolutions, but I don't know how to have proper resolutions or what is my goal, what is really purposeful. I don't know what to do. It's okay. We can start with saying that to Krishna. Dear Krishna, I think it's good to have a purposeful life, but I'm not really sure what kind of purpose I have. Can you please help me by revealing it to me? And magic can happen. One of the things I do is I have a book where on one side I write the prayer, like a request. I leave the opposite side empty and I go to the next pages. And then when that prayer gets answered, I come back and I write the date and I say when that prayer was answered and how it was answered and what actually happened. So these little things help us to stay connected to Krishna, because the way we can actually get the purpose of our life, purpose of our year revealed through Krishna directly, so we can be an instrument in his hand, so we can actually do something that's going to please Krishna, is through this connection with Krishna. The Krishna connection is the way to connect with the purpose of our life. If we cannot stay connected with Krishna, then whatever we do is not going to help us really feel fulfilled, or it's not really going to uplift us. So that's something about prayer.
Thank you so much. I think you just put it so beautifully, where you actually said that the whole purpose of this whole exercise is finally depending on Krishna, keeping Krishna in the center. And I think the best elements that I liked, in your last point was that, how not to let this whole exercise overwhelm you. Because it's so simple, if you just have any challenge at any point where you are not clear about your goal, or you don't know how to go forward, it's not working out, it's just so simple. You just have to go to Krishna, just have to go to him, just pray, request his help, and that's it. And I think this beautiful point where we said that you request a prayer and you wait for the Lord to respond and reciprocate. So I think that's very a very beautiful wrap up to that whole thing, that we had all the guidelines, the smart goals, how to balance the goals, and write your stuff down. But then if it's all not working out, then Krishna is just there to save you. So that was wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And I was thinking that, our session would actually be incomplete without this question that I'm going to ask you next, especially because you're such an accomplished astrologer. And I think this is something that a lot of people are going to have in their minds, maybe when they meet with you, connect with you in the coming year, that what do the stars look like for 2021. I think that's the question, especially in the light of what's happened the last year, being so difficult and challenging. So yeah.
Thank you, Parijata. Um, 2021 is a very special year. Just few days ago, we had the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction that's happened after 800 years. And this whole conjunction that's happening is a beginning of kind of a new phase to humanity. It's like a new opportunity to collectively change our consciousness, to move to a phase of life where we are opening for divine energy to flow through us, and less barriers, less judgments. In fact, and we can actually see the world is becoming more and more and more open for spiritual things. And this particular year, one of the things we can expect is, especially because we're talking about natures, making plans based on our natures and giving up that sense of trying to impress people or to show off. Those things are naturally in the world. There's going to be a huge shift in consciousness. In traditional times, or not traditional times, let me say, even within our spiritual organizations and movements, we've had different phases where we would force people to do certain things and demand that certain results will be gotten by in a particular way. But this particular era of Jupiter Saturn new beginning is we're going to have this great, tremendous opportunity to connect with our higher self, with our true self. It's a very great opportunity to get in touch with the individuality, something that's everyone has like a quirky side of us. So it's a time to kind of connect with that and be ourselves, and not really be somebody what maybe something that our parents want us to be, something our spouses wants to be, and then we kind of like force ourselves to just become that person and then struggle every day with the schedule, every day with every goal. We're struggling. So that struggle can actually be completely given up by just aligning with Krishna, aligning with our true self. This is a great opportunity. 2021 is it's already begun. Like on the 30th is going to be this full moon in Cancer, and it's like a great opportunity to feel our feelings. That's something we don't really encourage so much within our Krishna conscious movement. But this technique that I said, to write to Krishna everything that's going on in our mind, anyway, he knows it, but writing it and expressing it, it's the best way to connect all our feelings with Krishna and allowing our feelings to flow and let us grow into better individuals. So this particular year is going to be great for those who are looking for transformation, who wants to make that shift to connect with individuality. It's going to be great. But if we are stuck with some old patterns, old kind of things, thinking, then it's going to give us trouble, because this is a time to change. It's a time to shift. And technologically, we're going to see amazing advancements. People will have breakthroughs in technological researches and coming up with new apps and doing amazing things which will be blocked for all this time will start opening up new possibilities. If you're thinking of online projects and all that, there'll be like tremendous energy to open that up. And what else? Yeah, it's a year for people to recover, get in touch with their true self, to recover and align more with Krishna's will, and not with our own limited vision of what ISKCON should be, what a spiritual organization should be, but becoming more broad, becoming more open-minded. And like Srila Prabhupada said, to think how to inject the modern civilization with the Krishna conscious philosophy in an intelligent way, how to give to them in an unconventional, out of the box way. This is a great year to do preaching which is unconventional, out of the box, that touches people's hearts, brings transformation, and opens our mind and our hearts to allow Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy to flow through us. So that's what awaits us. We just have to embrace it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that insight. I think that's I'm sure our viewers are feeling much hopeful now. And if they want to make a shift in setting their goals and having realistic, resolutions, I think the stars are favoring them. We can almost say that the Yeah.
Realistic is also something that is aligned to their nature, something that Krishna wants them to do. Like in April, see, economy is going to be tough till April because it's going to take some more time. Another eclipse is going to come. So in April, economy will start to kind of pick up. But until then, the world is, if you try to go the conventional way of profession or whatever, it's going to be very tough. So you have to connect with your true self and think out of the box and do things that, follow your dream, something you always wanted to do. Don't care too much about what people are going to think. What about my image? Just do what's your calling, you know so connect with that. And it's magical. Like for years I'd stopped dancing, and dancing is something that really kind of brings that life back in me. And I just started doing it like few weeks ago. I started making more like these dance videos and things, and with that spirit of individualism, doing something I really like. And it's really opened my heart, opened my mind, and given me amazing ideas for preaching. So, be open for Krishna's plan. He has a plan for all of us. Just let's be open to it.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Hope. And we have one question from Sophia. Actually, I just want to mention that we have quite a few viewers who are watching this live, and I want to thank them for staying with us throughout this whole session. We have Krishna Samaji, who is thanking you for the nice Kannada song. And we have a lot of other viewers. We are just greeting you, Hare Krishna. They're just happy to be part of the session. And we have Sophia, who is actually asking us, Hare Krishna, how do I order this planner? I really like it. I think she's talking of Tiny Change. Um, uh, Sorry,
Amazon. You can order it on Amazon.
okay. So
But
yes,
you
so
can check, there are so many different planners, but this one is called Tiny Change. You can check it.
it's a big jump, though, leap, right? It talks about shiny change, but as you said, that it's the change which is we see the whole big perspective, but it's bits and pieces is where you actually make the shift. So yeah, for those who are interested, can actually bring this up and get this diary or a planner from Amazon.in or wherever you are. And with that, I would actually like to express my gratitude to Sri Radha Govind for, she's been one of our last speakers, but has brought such a ray of hope for us, giving us a perspective how to look forward to 2021, where she actually told us how to set realistic goals and how to have goals which are balanced, how to find the purpose of our life, and also a little insight into what the planets are, what's in store for us in relation to our planets. But the most important takeaway for all of us here is actually to know that feel the feeling. That's what she said. I just want to say that word. It's beautiful. Feel the feeling and align with Krishna. So this is here we have the great opportunity to align with Krishna, and connect to him, whatever is our external situation, but come back in that complete alignment and find our purpose in Krishna consciousness. So thank you so much, Sri Radha Govind, for that, for your direction, and for being there for us. And as somebody's just saying, yeah, thank you so much for your wonderful explanation. It brings new perspective and energy. So a lot of viewers who are here right now seeing it live, and those who will see it back. So I also want to mention to our viewers that this interview, this talk, is going to stay on the GBC SPT Facebook page and on the YouTube channel. So you can come back and hear it again. That's what I'm going to do. Especially some beautiful things that she shared, the tips. And you can also share it with your friends. So, that can be your little gift to your friends this year, that, you got this wonderful knowledge, and just share it back, to other devotees to help them to get, that perspective. And no more lousy resolutions. I think we're going to have more Krishna conscious, realistic resolutions with tiny changes, which is aligned with Krishna. So thank you so much for that, and wish you all a very happy New Year 2021. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.